Hello YouTube, this is a quick multi-purpose video, and I wanted to first respond to a comment from Haley Mary and on a video about photons over on the Holons network. She writes, I'm wondering if the photon enters time, does that mean that time only exists here on Earth? Or at least the time that people measure? Anyway, thanks for another thought-provoking video. And yes, this was a very provocative video, wasn't it? I wanted to try to answer your comment in video because it seems that I'm blocked from the Holons network channel. And this is very odd. I'm not sure what I did. Perhaps it was a comment that I made, but I'll get into that, I guess, in a minute. I want to get to your question about the photon. The photon appears as a wave particle in the modern understanding. And in modern physics, it's understood that the magnetic component and the electrical component are perpendicular to one another, and it moves as a transverse wave. And time, as it turns out, is something that moves in between the photon's manifestations. And so the photon doesn't move from one place to another in two-dimensional movement like we model it. We model it as going from one place to another. That's not really actually how it's moving. It uses the surrounding space in order to be able to translate from one place to another. And that in quantum mechanics sort of is implied by the photon spin entanglement. That's what they call it. And so there's this other form, this other time form that navigates through space in order to move the photon in our three-dimensional world. And the third dimension, our third-dimensional world, is actually a sort of shadow, if you understand the concept of a shadow of a higher dimensional form. So the photon is a four-dimensional form because it moves through time linearly, seemingly linearly. And so it has this four-dimensional form with time being the fourth dimension. And the fifth dimension is what technically would be moving to translate the photon. And so this brings up a larger part of the work that I'm doing. This is sort of the focus of the work that I'm doing right now. And I just revealed over on the Institute channel that I will be, well, I revealed the deeper mission of the Institute, which is to bring a better understanding of the relationship between the Earth's space and outer space into the consciousness of humanity, basically. And so that space that is outside the Earth's orbit is very different than the space that we normally think of because of our three-dimensional perception. And so we have to be very careful about what we do up there and how we do it. And so this is something that the Institute is bringing to the table for the general public, for humanity, with a better understanding of the nature of physics, with a better physical model for the nature of reality. And that said, guys on the Holons network, I'm not sure why I'm blocked, but it would have been nice to at least get a little warning or some sort of indication as to what I did. If I've offended you guys somehow, I'm sorry. I hope that it was actually me that did it and not somebody that hijacked my account. And so you let me know if you can, what that's about. I like you guys. I don't have anything. I don't have any animosity towards you. I realize there's some differences in our perspectives, but I'm not wanting that to hold up our progress, our collective progress. That said, I got a message from Segall movement, and there's a community that's starting, and I think this is a very interesting community. I'm not sure I'll be able to participate with a lot of this stuff. I've got my agenda, and my agenda is very, very specific. It's very, very particular, and I consider it incredibly important. Moving on to that, there are these two works, a treatise on cosmic fire, which I recently acquired, and this is the higher light. This is the nature of what's in Christianity is called the Christed light, and that light that comes from the cosmos is very different than the light that we see here and that we make here on Earth. There's some differences in the behavior of the light, and on the same day that this arrived, this book that I'd ordered arrived, Matthew Segall's book, and I'm very interested in sort of digging into both of these. But when I get books, what I do is I usually open it up just to see if it speaks to me, and this one really speaks to me. And I opened it up immediately to page 447, and this is the first delving I got into it. And here is in my view, I cut to the chase. So on page 447, in better focus, so far-reaching are the effects of this ray, both on the deva and the human units in their different kingdoms, that entirely new environments will evolve for the utilization of the new types, and entirely new characteristics will be found emerging in the race of men. And so it's talking about this mutation, and this was on page 447. And when I opened Matthew's book for the first time the other night on camera, I turned immediately to page 47, in better focus, hopefully. Gebser describes the mutation from the mythic to the mental structure as the earth-shaking event. It pierces the womb of the psyche, where all was pregnant with imaginal meaning and polar congruence, birthing the directed, dualistic, and discursive thought of the mind. The ring of his protective psychic circle is broken, and man steps out of the two-dimensional surface into space, which he will attempt to master by his thinking. Gebser describes this process as a fall from time into space, as the sheltering cyclical temporality of the mythic structure gives away to the three-dimensional alienating vacuum of space.